Hi everyone! A lot of you enjoyed my last video where I released Waves and Webs on all streaming platforms. Today I'm going to show you how we actually turn the MIDI into sheet music so everyone can play it and enjoy it. So this is the folder we worked on last time. I'm going to go to the release folder. I actually duplicated the Cubase session that we had worked on last week, and I named it Notation. Let's open it up. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the mixing window. I'm just going to get rid of all these mixing plugins. There is a quick way to get rid of all the plugins here, I think. Right click and reset. There we go. I did that just so that the session becomes much lighter to work with. Okay, so now we just have the MIDI track and the tempo map. Typically, the first step would be to line up everything to the grid. But actually, when I had recorded this, I had the click track and I recorded it section by section. So even the slowing down and any rubato that I had done, it was manually done with the tempo map. But in this case, it's done already. And the next step would be to quantize everything. So I'm going to click on the MIDI track. Although, as you can see, everything is lined up to the grid, nothing is quantized, especially nothing is hard quantized. And I want to hard quantize everything so that when we export it into Sibelius, it won't get confused and think some notes are 32nd or 64 note value. And again, the way I'm going to do this is I'll take it section by section and go from there. For this section, I'm going to change the grid to 8th note. And I'll disable the soft quantization because I want to hard quantize everything. And I'm going to select to this area here and quantize. So now if I zoom in, you'll see everything is hard quantized to the grid. And then in the right hand, we're going to do 16th note values. Yeah, and stuff like this is kind of like a trill or a grace notes. So obviously I can't really quantize those. I'll have to manually fix them in Sibelius. I want to listen to it. This passage here was actually triplets, so I have to change that manually. Pa, 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 pa. Let's select only this area here. And I have a shortcut for changing from straight notes to triplets. Let's do that. And it's 8th note triplets. So there we go. I think this is the fastest area of the piece, and I think it's like triplets, 16th note triplets. Oh, okay. So the left hand is doing straight 16th notes, I believe, and the right hand is doing the triplets. So let's start with the right hand first. And the left hand is doing just straight 16th notes and quantize. Yep, there we go. Same idea here. Okay, it slows down here, so we're just going to go back to 8th notes. Okay, that's it. Now moving on to the next step, and that would be to separate the left hand and right hand. This is kind of a time-consuming process also because we have to manually go in there and just really pay attention to what the right hand is playing and what the left hand is playing. I'm going to duplicate this track and I'm going to name them right, left. And basically the way I do it is I draw an empty track here in the left hand. Then I go in this track, select the left hand notes, cut and paste it into the left hand track. This is all left hand. This is a little bit tricky because these lower notes here are actually played with the right hand. Ba-da-da-da. That's left hand. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. That's left hand. I'm gonna cut this section, close, go to the left hand track and paste it here. Now, really important thing to point out is when I paste this here, I don't do Control V. I do Alt V. That way it will paste in the same spot that it was cut from. So let me undo this. If I do Control V now, it will paste it in the spot that the line starts from. So it's completely wrong spot right now. But if I do Alt V, it doesn't matter where the playing line is, it will always paste it in the original spot that it was cut from. Again, cut, Alt V, and sometimes listening to the left hand or right hand separately helps you realize there are notes that don't belong in that section. Okay, great. So I listened to both parts separately. Now we're ready to move on to the next step. I want to clean up any MIDI information that doesn't translate well in Sibelius. For example, if I open the pedal section, you'll see that there is so much information here that might not translate well in Sibelius, and I'd rather add these manually. A quick way of doing this is I come here, right-click, select all events, delete. And then the next thing, I'm gonna look at the MIDI notes and make sure they're holding the right value. So for example, here, you see some notes that are shorter and some notes are longer. There's actually a quick way of doing this in Cubase, and I love it because I created a shortcut for it. But basically, you come here and there's like a scale legato. First thing I do is fixed lengths, which I have a shortcut for on my keyboard, and then I say apply legato. So let me show you. Fixed length, and then apply legato. And the shortcut I have is backward slash, and then shift backward slash. Oh, one important note I have to mention. As you see, these passages that are very fast, their value was at 16th note triplet. In fact, to make it easier to remember, I would actually recommend to put the grid to the smallest value, so in this case 16th note triplet, and just apply this fixed length and apply legato. So again, I'm going to select all the notes here, fixed lengths, and apply legato. There we go. Now let's do the left hand, the same thing. Again, I'm going to keep it at the 16th triplet value, and then fixed lengths, apply legato. Boom. In this stage, I also go to the tempo track, and I just get rid of all these changes here, because then I'll be able to add retardando or accelerando or any tempo changes in the notation software. And I just keep 1 point for the initial tempo, which is 140. Next, we're going to open the score editor in Cubase. So we select both parts and Control R to open the score editor. Okay, so now as you can see, both the right hand and left hand are a grand staff, and we don't want that. So I want the right hand to say treble clef and left hand to say bass clef. All right, so the way I do it is go to settings and go to instrument, and here we actually see the right hand and left hand. And basically, I'm just going to pick a treble staff for the right hand, bass staff for the left hand. Now let's see how everything looks. So obviously these lower notes, we're going to have to change them to bass clef, but I like to do it in Sibelius. I generally work much faster in Sibelius. Yeah, everything looks great. The only thing I was going to change is just this last note. I think I forgot to change it in the left hand. So let's go ahead and do that right here. And I think I went to 127. Now we export into XML. So again, let me open the score editor window and go to File, Export, Music XML. And I'm just going to export it into the same folder here, Release, And let's create a folder, call it score XML. All right, so now we open Sibelius. One thing I like to do to make sure all my scores follow the same format is I actually go to the last project, which in this case, it was the score for March of the Forgotten Garden. And I just duplicate it and work from there. So I'm going to go to Open Other, and I'm going to look for that score. And before I do anything, I'm just going to do Control-Shift-S, which is basically duplicating it. And I'm going to save it in the folder here, score, call it waves and webs, save. So now any changes I make here, it's not going to affect, the original file. So I'll change the title, go to score info, waves and webs, for piano, full score. Pretty much I kind of look at everything here. The initial tempo was 140. In fact, I'm going to delete all the extra measures here. Special text. Oh, here it is. Instrument name at top left. Piano. Let's change the key signature to A minor. Now I'm going to open the XML file. An easy way to fix this is Control A, select all, go to layout, and unlock format. I don't know why it does that, but anyway. Now we select the entire right hand part, copy, paste. The same thing we're going to do for the left hand. Copy and paste. We got everything set up. I'm just going to delete this extra measure. And now we're going to work off of this score. First, what I like to do is I'm going to click Shift P to show the panoramic view. I just realized I made a mistake. Somehow when I pasted everything, it shifted 2 quarter notes ahead. I'm not sure how I did that, but I need to fix it. So let's do that. Let's go to the score view. And I have to select from here all the way to the end. I guess copy, because when I'm cutting, for some reason, it's deleting everything. And just paste from the first rest. Did that work? Oh, I guess it worked. I'm just double checking everything. Yeah, it looks good. It's just there are some values that changed. I have to go in there and just fix them later. So I like to go to the panoramic view and just kind of scan it multiple times. And then I do another run, and now I start fixing grace notes or trills. For these surgical changes, I'm going to have to go to the original video, and it'll help me figure out what I played. So right off the bat, I noticed that I'm playing these arpeggiated. So I'm going to select them, go to this, a whole note, tied. Alright, so I made some changes. Now I can go back to the score view and start adding dynamics, change the layout if I have to. Now I'm going to skip through and show you the final result. Alright, so here's the final result, and I just wanted to show you the details that I added. Obviously, I added dynamics, changed the tempo to be more specific. Let me actually lower this a little bit. The pedal changes are very specific. Of course, the copyright info. The only thing is I might go back and make the copyright information to show on every single page. The only thing I wasn't sure about, I do want to add slurs on the fast runs here, but also, I don't know, these triplets are kind of bothering me, and I want to go back and make them into 6 tuplets. And now all we need to do is go to File, Export, PDF. And after that, I'm just going to upload the PDF file on my website so that it's available for purchase. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you have any questions or you want to add anything, make sure you comment down below. As I mentioned earlier, this composition is available on all digital streaming platforms. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.